Hey guys, it's here bringing you another video. Now, welcome back to episode 1 of what is potentially a new mini-series, depending how you guys take it. And I think we're calling it the Champion's Climb. So the idea of it, if you're like, what the hell is this? We pick a champion, and we're starting with Jayce, because he's the champion that I obviously have been the highest rating with. I use Jayce to get master myself. So we're going to start with Jayce. And the idea is we are going to watch different ranks of Jayce and see what they do. See what they do that is not great. See what they do that they're doing fine. Where's the room for improvement? And as we go up the ranks, you'll probably start to see that difference yourself. Because everybody asks, what's the difference between being bronze and gold? Or how do I become plat? I'm gold. We're going to see the differences with this series. Now, I'll say a couple things before we begin. This series is not about making fun when we're watching lower ranks. This is an educational series. The people that are in this game, they may stumble across this video. Who knows? And you clearly will see we're not going to be making fun. If with lower ranks, things may happen that may be a bit weird. But we'll take it as an educational point to bounce off to try and learn from. But also, we have adjusted the series a little bit. So this game we are watching is actually a bronze, I think, 4 game. It's not an iron game. So I announced this a couple days ago and I took a lot of feedback. Like I said, what do you guys think? And everybody liked the idea. And if you, by the way, like this and you want it to continue, throw a like on the video. But what people said was it could be a bit tedious to technically do, I think it's 8 different episodes on the same champion, when my channel is all about variety. It's a bit weird to upload, obviously, content with the same champion in mind. So what I'm going to decide, and what I have decided, is we are going to skip a couple of the ranks where the rating differences aren't going to be astronomical. So this is a bronze game, so we're going to be putting together iron, bronze, and probably silver in the same kind of mix. So the episode 2 of the Jayce mini-series of the Champion's Climb will be gold. And then from gold, we might start to go a little bit slower. So from gold to platinum, we might do a different episode there. And then diamond, instead of doing low diamond, we may do mid or high diamond. And then we'll probably jump straight up to Grandmaster or Challenger. So instead of 8 episodes per champion, there's 4 or 5. And I think that's a lot more reasonable. Given, again, my channel is supposed to be about variety. So, before we begin, just to say, why Jayce? I did mention it briefly. Yeah, Jayce is the champion that I know quite a lot about. I played the champion a decent amount, and he was the champion I used to get my highest rank of Master in League of Legends, which is a pretty decent rank, to say the least, on EU West as well. And I just like the champion. So he's a top lane champion. Some people do play him mid, and obviously the whole thing with him is he's both melee and ranged. Now, what I'll be looking for here is how effective is this bronze player going to be using his melee form. The worst Jayces that you generally see, or the not great ones at least, will very much in lane phase. I am only a ranged top laner. I'm staying in cannon form the whole, and I'm just basically being a form of Quinn in top lane. Really good Jayces. So as we watch this series progress, you will see, yes, ranged form is probably the predominant form in lane phase, but you'll slowly see the transition of using hammer form way more often and way more aggressive in the early levels. So he's against a Garen. That's actually the wrong button. Sorry about that. What did I just do? I have no idea. Anyway, now I click on League of Legends, and now I can press P, and there we go. So just say, let me get the data. It's a Jayce versus a Garen. So let's look up what the percentage of this matchup should be. So I'll just say, overall right now, Jayce, as a champion, has a 48.5% win rate, with only a 4% pick rate and a 1.1% ban rate. So Jayce, at the moment, doesn't seem to be in the greatest of places. But he is what I would deem a specialist champion. And I also just noticed I'm doing the wrong thing. Blue, there we go. So, the matchup specific, Jayce versus Garen, it is a 48.3% win rate for Jayce. So, it's actually a worse win rate for the champion. And worth also noting, you can leave me the feedback down below. This game we're going to watch from this Jayce, he's having a good game. You know, I don't want to highlight these people feeding like crazy. He's having a good game here. But even though he has a good game, are we still able to find places that he could really improve? I think that's the idea. So let me know in the comments if you wanted to see every episode of the person having a good game, or do you want to see them having a really bad game? I don't really know. Arguably, you can learn more from losses, but in the match history of this player, I will say, and one thing I will point out, is very inconsistent. So I can't show that in this, obviously, replay. But yeah, has games where they do really well, and then games that they're feeding like crazy. And that is partially of the low and high rating differences, is that consistency level. A diamond player, on average, will be a bit more consistent across the board. But anyway, level 1. So weirdly, the Jayce really looking aggressive at that level 1. And I don't think the Jayce would actually win that level 1 in all-in. But the Garen was just not feeling it. And that is one thing you'll notice in low ratings, is that knowledge factor of when can I fight. So the poking is going to happen. And Jayce, you can see this one is looking quite aggressive already with that hammer form. Is, you know, wanting to pop it and go all in. Which is a bit weird for a level 1. Garen's starting level E. What right now, again, we all could probably say, you don't really want one of two things. You don't want the Jayce to be in melee range, but also that Garen is very much overextending into the whole minion wave at level 1. Level 2 hits for both champions. Jayce aggressively flashing, actually, you know, uses E really well. Not a great start. So, a couple things just to worth note straight away, and we will press pause. So, what was good? What was bad? I like the aggression. If played well, I think that Jayce could have got the kill. The bad things is Jayce, he could have used his range form a little bit more. And, you know, the flash was very aggressive. But he could have, like, stayed a bit away. Like, the idea, I guess, was to flash away, knock him back away from his tower. But then the danger was the Garen's just going to fight you. He's got Ignite, you don't. So what should have happened there is I don't think the flash use is needed. And especially in lower ratings, the advantage in lane isn't necessarily a kill, it's pressure. So the Jayce could have gone for that play, like I would say, where he should have stopped the aggression play. Well, I'll show it right now. So health-wise, Garen's nearly dead. Both hit level 2 before the flash. Just before the flash, the play was done, and you have now lane advantage. The Garen's low. You could have just kind of chilled a little bit more. And you could have just continued lane phase, but while having a bit of pressure. And obviously Garen's passive, you've got to stop proccing for his regen. But the moment that he flashed, again, if he went for this flash, can he salvage this play? Okay, so he hits him. The way that you salvage it, you've hit him away. There is a pretty good distance there, but remember, Garen does have flash. But the way that I would have potentially played it if I was in this position is make sure I'm staying away from him at this point. He's got flash, which that's going to be hard to stay away from, but he has that ignite, and maybe this is where the Jayce kind of forgot about that. I would stick with, he's gone back into cannon form, which I think is the correct decision, and I would stay away from him with kiting, like, kind of towards his tower, which obviously is a bit weird, but the mistake that he makes is he's standing still right now and auto-attacking, and Garen isn't even attacking him yet. But he's trying to kite away. He's standing still. He does also miss the gate, but that wouldn't have killed Garen. He has his W. And again, standing still and gets ignited and killed. So if he was going to get that kill, the Jayce maybe was a bit too aggro against an ignite Garen, but he needed just to keep the range away from the Garen. The Garen didn't even press flash if he was going to. But that's what I would say. Teleport coming in though by the Jayce. Obviously not the start you want. He might try to get a recovery here, but that's not going to be it. And right now, this is the correct thing to do, I would say, is push. Some people would actually disagree, which is you could actually do both. At the time, if I'm not mistaken, when he teleported in, the wave was actually going to push back into Jayce's favor, so you could freeze the Garen out. But the reason why I say pushing isn't a terrible idea is this Garen isn't baiting. So he's low health. Yes, he does have his passive on the go, so Jayce should do something about this, which he is. This is bad by the Garen. He does have flash. Jayce needs to keep these auto attacks. One more. He could have done one more. He got the kill, but he could have done one more auto with his hammer form and then swap into ranged. Remember, the swap is a really good attack reset, so get that auto in. As soon as the auto goes off, swap to your other form and you can get an auto in instantly again. Shaco up in top lane. I don't think that... Well, Jayce is in trouble. Unfortunately, unfortunately for the Jayce, he had his W on in hammer form, which means he has AoE. The Shaco walked next to him, therefore the tower will aggro. But that was good, getting a return kill on the Garen. Obviously, the Garen himself still has not used flash. He probably could have got away there, and he was overstaying. But the Jayce does pick himself up one kill. Obviously, the farm is going to be pretty low. And I'll just say, some things we're going to gloss over when it comes to what could be better here. A big one is going to be farm. I think that goes without saying. The farm in this game is generally going to be very low because it's a skill in itself, farming. You know, if you go into a custom game right now and you go to farm, right, you've got no one against you, no player, you're not probably going to get perfect farm because, you know, it's not actually that easy to do. And that's actually a good training tool. Meanwhile, Jayce going all in, doing a bit of damage. He is tanking minions, so he should probably back off after that nice little harass there. But yeah, when you're combining that, you're not going to perfectly farm anyway, and then you actually have another human against you in your lane, it's a recipe for not getting great farm. So Jayce, this guy, he seems to have a relatively similar playstyle, that he comes to lane, he does a bit of farming, and then he just goes all in cannon form. What I would actually want from this Jayce a little bit more is what's happening now. His range advantage is actually quite strong. Garen does eventually use his flash to get away. Jayce with the EQ gets the kill, which is lovely. But in this matchup, it's a negative win rate matchup for Jayce. Garen is obviously one of the running champions of League of Legends. What I'd want to see from this Jayce is poking more. Not just with his Q, just with more auto attacks. Constantly be applying that pressure, and the Garen is going to panic, like he just did. And then what I would use the Camera form for is one of two things. Like, really, the Jayce shouldn't be winning these kind of trades, but the Garen just isn't reacting quick enough to them. But realistically, the Jayce should be saving his hammer form for when the Garen does eventually want to go all in, because the Jayce's E is a great counter tool. That, if I'm not mistaken, I have played this matchup a few times, if the Jayce, like, you're spamming your hammer form E, like you're prepared for a Garen to run on top of you, you can actually batter a Garen away before he gets his Q on you, and by the time he runs back to you, he's lost his movement speed buff and you've battered him away, and then you can go back into range form and continue your ranged harass. So yeah, I just want to see him, like, actually actively poking the Garen more. Again, things like that, walking into melee range, is not what you want to do. You want to continue having that kind of perfect distance. Garen walks forward, you walk back, and you're kind of like doing that. It's kind of like a tug of war, and that's the way that you have to play Jayce against matchups that are supposed to be able to kill you. And now, obviously, the Garen, it's worth saying, we're in a bronze game. Bronze, it's a low bronze, high iron game. The Garen obviously is of that rating too. Garen is a very popular champion at this rating because he's mechanically very basic. So a lot of players in this rating, they don't want to focus on mechanics, they want to focus more on decision making, and that is what something like Garen can give. Jayce for this rating is a relatively advanced champion. You know, he's got combos, you know, skill shots with his EQ, when to be, like, big decision making, when to be in hammer form, when to be in cannon form. That's pretty big stuff. Another thing also worth noting that I see a lot of Jayces not do is mana regen with his hammer form. When you're low mana on Jayce, you can go in hammer form, and whenever you're auto attacking, it gives you mana back. I don't see a lot of Jayces do that. And obviously there's a time and a place for it. You don't want to go into melee range killing minions when your opponent can all in and kill you. But here's another example. Why is this Jayce pushing? He's already got a pretty good farm lead. The enemy minions were actually going to have a really nice solid freeze there, but he pushed it. Why? You know, I'm not obviously the best player when it comes to... He's walking behind, he's got the phase rush buff, he's going to go one more auto, then swap to... Didn't swap in time to range form, probably could have got one more auto in on range form there, which would have been the empowered one. But what we're not seeing, really, he does get the nice EQ, and this is probably another dead Garen. Unfortunately for the Garen, and the Jayce does get the kill. Shaco's in the area to see what he can do, if anything. Obviously, the Shaco has a level advantage. You've got the Tremors coming, so now the Shaco has committed because he's used his Ignite, and the Jayce knows which is the correct one. So that's good. He knows which one's the Shaco. Very basic, because everyone goes, how the hell did you tell? Movement. You know, one is kind of running at you for the most part, and it's very obvious robot movements in a way. That, yeah, Shaco can go, like, attack that minion or move here, but it's very obvious usually compared to an actual human controlling the character, like, primarily. So it's usually quite easy to tell, and this Jayce did. So what I'd like right now for this Jayce to do is swap to hammer form and get some mana back. Instead, you know, there we go, he swapped, but then he's using mana. He's pushing the wave, so maybe he'll push it and then go back. But yeah, so primary things that I'd say, the Jayce, obviously, as I mentioned, we're highlighting a good game, we're not highlighting a bad game. I like that he should be poking. Continue poking. Poke, 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 poke. The Garen is in a predicament here. Do I go for the farm, but I'm going to get poked in the face? This is a kill. That was a kill right there. So that's another thing to say. Don't miss opportunities for kills. That Jayce, okay, he gets the kill a couple seconds later, but that was very easily a kill straight away, but he delayed it a little bit too much. So yeah, pull the trigger when you know it's a kill, but maybe obviously the Jayce didn't know it was exactly a kill right then. But yeah, the farm obviously is a bit on the low side. If you're watching a challenger high rating game, you'd expect around the 10-minute mark. You're seeing the 80, 90 farm areas, but that's fine. You know, farm, even I struggle with amazing farm when I'm streaming, especially because it's a distraction. And obviously we're watching the lower end of ranked here. But as primary things, first thing is we've said the Jayce is doing good, which is good. But I want to see him use more poke. You've seen just then that whole kill he just got on the Garen was in ranged form, poking as the Garen was getting farmed. Continue doing that. The Garen may panic. He may then go all in. And when he's running all in, either your phase rushes proc so you can walk away from him, or that's when you're ready for cannon form to batter him away. So more range poke is definitely in the cards for this Jayce. Pulling the trigger on getting the kill like that, he didn't go for the kill when he could have. If the Garen, which this Garen is seeming his big weakness is he never wants to base. He's always staying even if he's at low health. But that Garen could have just walked away and went to base, and that would have been no kill for Jayce. So again, more poke. Right now, the Garen has no interest in running at you. There could have been another couple auto attacks there. Continuously try to get that poke is what I'd want this Jayce to do. But that's, you know, mana, you know, freezing and stuff like that, and mana management, I'd say, is the other one. He's not freezing it ever. He is just pushing it all the time. Yes, he's got a big farm lead, so some people are, it's fine, don't worry about it. But again, this is an educational series that we're saying what could be better. He could be freezing it. That would deny the Garen even more, and he'd only gain from that. He's got a 2-level lead. You deny the more XP from the Garen because he'd probably be holding back a bit more, and you'd be denying even more farm. And just to say, like, as we go in this series, obviously not every episode is going to be Jayce versus Garen. But I've laned against Garens, and again, this is a winning matchup for Garen. What is this Garen doing wrong? He's probably a bit too far behind now. He's going all in. He's popped the Ignite and just walks away. But the Garen, he's probably lost out his window. He's too far behind now. He will eventually, if the game goes long enough, probably do fine with some items, but that's going to now take a while considering how far he's behind. But the aggression level in the early game. If the Garen in the early game, like you saw at the level 2, he killed the Jayce. The Garen has just never gone aggressive, you know? Sometimes you can just straight up get murdered by an early level 3, level 4 Garen. He flash Qs you. You can't react in time. You can see here, this Garen is 2 levels down, nearly getting the kill. Like, he's maybe finally realized, I can play a little bit aggressive here. Echo also coming top lane. Garen even flashing, he's going to walk under the tower. 1 auto attack. Just auto attack him. But he's not going to get a kill. 3 people top lane, another kill. Echo dies under tower as well. So 3 people top side. Jayce does end up with 1 kill. I think Garen, we just maybe saw a bit of frustration of going, this is annoying, I'm going to go all in on you. And he did die. Like, yes, admittingly, the Garen didn't kill him, but it was very close. And that's been this whole lane phase. This Garen has never gone all in. So that's what I'd say the Garen has done mainly wrong. He's just been laning and being, like, basically accepting that I'm just going to get range poked and I'm eventually going to overstay and die, instead of the Garen going all in. That's what he needed to do. So Jayce, item-wise, has gone for Eclipse, which is the standard Jayce item. He's also gone for the Ionian Boots of Lucidity, cooldown boots. Again, that's fine. Again, in a bit more of a challenging state. There is a world that this Jayce may have had to buy defensive boots, but because the Garen isn't going aggressive enough, I think the boots are fine. Again, Garen, there's the bat, so that's literally the perfect use for it, and now go back in for range, poke, etc. Again, why is he in that range? He's killing the tower, but you are tanking tower. That Garen could have gone on you then, and the damage would have been really good, but that's where this Garen is just falling a little bit, you know, late. And now because of the big item advantage, the Jayce can have this aggression, and the Garen is now too far behind. Obviously, Jayce has gone for that tier. I'm not going to say it's a mistake. The tier is completely fine. Meanwhile, Echo coming top lane does get the stun. Can Jayce turn this? You'd be surprised with the damage that Jayce can do, that he probably could end up killing this Echo. Go all in. Right now. Go, 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 go. And that's a dead Echo. Lovely to see. So that was good. A little bit hesitant by the Jayce. I think he was thinking, can I get this? Yes, you can. You're really fed. So it's nice to see the confidence building in this Jayce as well. The confidence in the bit of the early game was a bit lacking, and he could have been even more aggressive. And this is nothing to say, you have to adjust to the people you're playing against. If this was a challenger game, Jayce versus Garen, we'd see a much different result. Even though, yes, it's a kind of range versus melee matchup, the Garen would have been more aggressive, has higher damage output than a Jayce when played well in the early game. The Jayce wouldn't have this lead, and the Garen might even be doing quite well. But because you're in this situation, play to the situation you're in. You're fed, so you play aggressive. That's what I want to see from this Jayce continuing in this game. And just to say again, most of the mistakes that we're going to be watching in the start to these mini-series are quite obvious. You know, we're only kind of focusing on the Jayce and the Garen in this game, but you can see this game, it's overall not going very well for Jayce's team. He is fed, but there's a 6-1 Shaco on the enemy team. Nice steal, though, by Zyra to get the Dragon, but that's a fed misfortune on the enemy team, a fed Shaco. So this game isn't what you'd actually say is a complete stomp. The Jayce is doing well. Meanwhile, Garen, again, this is the item thing. Oh, what I like by the Jayce, so a thumbs up from me, is you can see he loves walking past, or even earlier, flashing past his enemy to then batter them with his E in hammer form away from safety. That's smart, you know. That's a nice little thing that he's picked up. It's worked well for him. The Garen obviously still committing to a squishy build. Yes, I probably would have expected if a Garen was doing this bad in the early game. One, I would have hoped he would invest into boots in the early game, because you're in a range versus melee matchup that would help you get on top or even run away from that person. But even tier 2 boots I would want from this Garen early. Ninja Tabby, definitely. That would have just helped the Garen have that bit more tankiness and movement speed to actually fight the Jayce, but it's now a bit too far gone. Also worth noting, the Garen has got 5 health potions right now. It's a little bit questionable to have 5. Echo survives with his ultimate, and that was a near kill as well for Jayce. So you can see the pressure is building for the enemy team. Jesus Christ, even though the game is going okay, we have a very fed Jayce in top lane. How are we going to stop him? Now, if I was the enemy team, what would I do right now? I literally, Shaco going to go for the Jayce. Probably not going to go that well for the Jayce. He can just walk away from the, again, fed Shaco. I would swap my bot lane to top. At this stage, this is just going to continue to happen. I don't think there's many people that can stop this Jayce if he plays it okay. He doesn't get hit by the tower or anything like that. Again, he needs to run right now. Echo flashes. Garen's come from behind somewhere. So this will be a dead... Oh, will it not? Oh, he's played it well. Oh, run for the hills. He actually played that really well. He battered the one away that had kill pressure on him. The Garen, again, this reaction time of the Garen has been quite slow. Couldn't get the ultimate off. And he's actually going to end up surviving that. So, yeah, really good thumbs up by me. He's played it well. He's also, while he's retreating, doing some EQs, probably scouting vision more than anything else. Yeah, honestly, really good by the Jayce. That was a great survival. Good to see. But yeah, so if I was the enemy team, you've got a really fed bot lane. They're doing quite well. Nice shutdown, though, by the Jhin. I potentially would put my Misfortune Morgana top lane, and I would put my Garen bot lane. Now, that doesn't mean the Garen's going to get farm, but he's not really getting farm up in top lane. And if you're not going to keep on top of this, this tower is falling very soon. So that's what I would do if I was red team. The Jayce himself has now picked up his Black Cleaver. Slow stacking tier, which is perfectly fine. But now what's the Jayce going to do? So this is the point from a top lane perspective and a Jayce perspective. When you get fed, something just dropped on my desk. When you get fed on Jayce, don't stay up in top lane. It is one of my biggest advices. Now, Jayce isn't what I would consider a absolute team fighting champion, but he is a good skirmishing champion, really. He provides, you know, himself with movement speed. He provides his team with movement speed. That's a really nice team thing to have. So having him only up in top lane as a split pusher is usually not the most effective thing when it comes to Jayce. And also, even though this game is unlikely to happen, he gets outscaled in a lot of 1v1s. Unless, you know, again, he's just very, very fed. He's way too far ahead like this game. A Garen will beat a Jayce in late game. If both champions have all their items, in a pure 1v1, a Garen will win. Good flash by him, escaping the Shaco, which then could have gone into a fear. So again, good reaction time. That's what I like. One big thing that, you know, always is the case is reaction time when you're looking at low versus high rating. You know, when you're, why is Malphite not considered amazing in high rating, but pretty good in low rating? A lot of it is actually reaction time. A Malphite is his ultimate, practically. And if you flash a Malphite ult, he's just kind of standing there like, most of my use is gone. And that's the thing. In higher rating, flashing a Malphite ult isn't that big of a thing, but flashing in a Malphite ult in low rating is quite a big thing. Having that reaction time to do that. So if you right now are in low rating, what is the big thing that I would recommend you to work on? You know, it's not champion-specific things. It's reaction time, more than anything. Like, if you have a quick reaction time, that goes a long way for League of Legends, or in that matter, any video game. Reaction time is huge. So we're now in a sieging part of the game, and, you know, Jayce not bad at sieging. He is a bombarding champion with his Q. So that's good. You know, I don't see this as a bad thing. The only thing I would say is the Jhin, who is in bot lane now, is kind of fighting the more fed Misfortune. Jhin is also what I would consider a good bombarding champion. Higher range, can put his ultimate and make people run away. So why is Jhin not here? But obviously that's not Jayce reliant. That's not what we're in this commentary for. Walking on the stun, Shaco coming back, and that will be a dead Jayce. So potentially a little bit too much of an overstay. The Shaco has kind of done the same thing every game, and he's quite fed, so you can't sleep on the Shaco killing you. What I'd say, the one thing, you know, is that inconsistency that, again, comes with low rating, is sometimes this reaction has been really good by this Jayce, and others, especially when it has come to being near towers and stuff, this Jayce likes being just a bit too close to the tower, or the Echo W is coming down, and the Jayce just doesn't react in time to walk away. Like, just move straight away. Oh, the Echo's going to stun me under the tower? See ya, I'm running away. And that's the thing with Jayce, you have movement speed buffs, like obviously your gate in ranged form is movement speed buff, but when you transform, when you swap form, you get a burst movement speed, so you just swap form, run away. Meanwhile, the Shaco is continuing his fedness. Jayce teleporting to mid, is going to look for this Echo. Again, that trick that he wants to run around. He doesn't manage to get it, but with his damage, does pick up the kill. Rek'Sai versus the Garen. Obviously, the Rek'Sai has gone for the Prowler's Claw, which is fine, but that does make you very squishy as a Rek'Sai, and the Garen is probably going to want to try and get this kill. He does go for the ult, does get the kill, but also, for weird reason, walks into the tower and will die in the end. So trade up in top lane. But how can this game turn into a win? Well, as I mentioned, and what I think has gone well for this Jayce, well, both ways really. I like that the Jayce isn't permanently staying up in top lane, even though this game may be a bit of a way to do it. So again, you play to the game that you're in. In a normal game, like in an average rank, I would say Jayce coming mid, working with his team, trying to get towers, objectives, that's a pretty good idea. But this game, weirdly, and meanwhile Misfortune just died in bot lane, so that's good for this blue team, is the Misfortune has stayed bot lane for the most part of this game. So if Jayce stays top lane, he's really far away from the increased numbers of the enemy teams. Because the Jayce right now is breaking into the enemy base. They're not going on him. The Shaco is trying to come. Ooh, that was the wrong move by Jayce. I'd probably get the phase rush proc, start walking away, looking for a bit of damage as he retreats. You'll probably see Qs coming in. Echo ults away before damage comes out, and the Jayce does end up with a good survival, and he just broke into the base. So overall, thumbs up. A little bit messy, but isn't just permanently up in top lane, split pushing. He's actively around other parts of the map, making an impact there too. So that's how you carry games from top lane. If you're not a split pushing champion, you know, if you're a Tryndamere player, obviously that's a bit different, that you practically have to stay in top lane or a side lane. Jayce isn't. So that's what I like, that this guy, even in bronze, he's working his way around the map. He's using how fed he is to help the rest of the map. So that's good. That's a thumbs up by me. He's now back up in top lane. Morgana walking into him. Go all in. This is an all-in potential. And he will pick up the kill. That's why phase rush right there is so good on Jayce. It gives you that movement speed after your initial burst to chase down the enemy that they can't get away. So yeah, bit of a mistake by Morgana. May have just didn't really realize that Jayce was still around. Enemy team is getting kills, by the way, in mid, but Jayce is now up in top lane, going to break open this part of the two. So the constant pressure is really good. That's really nice. So the enemy team, yay, we got Diana. Oh, sweet Jesus. You know, the Jayce is on it. So he needs to kill this. Like, finish this inhib. It's going bad for his team down here. Finish the inhib. Doesn't need a flash, so that's a bit questionable why he did that. But now walk away. You've done your job. You walk away. And now what I'd want from this Jayce is go back, buy, get a little bit more of a power spike, and then potentially start grouping with his team for the next few minutes. You've got the inhib. There's going to be a constant pressure now up in that top lane. Your team just fought in bot lane. This is the Shaco, by the way, and the Echo. Those seem to be, you know, those two players seem to be together quite a bit. But yeah, go to bot lane with your teammates. You know, the top lane is going to start building up. You can go bot lane, use your bombardment of your poke with a Jhin, and that's great. So that's what I'd want to see. I don't think, like, how much gold does he have? He's got over 2,000 gold, so I really want him to go back right now. His team is grouping, which may make him go, I'm not going to go back. My team is grouping. I'm going to stay with my team. But again, when you're ahead, the way you stay ahead is you maintain your item lead. He's not doing that if he's, like, not spending his money. He's still quite far ahead, obviously, but not really. He's not far ahead of the Shaco. And a Baron is being started. So it does seem that this Jayce is the one that wanted to do this, by the way, because he's the one that was staying. He's hovered around. And now the Baron is being started. W, nice play by the enemy bot lane. Oh, sorry, blue bot lane. And they do get the Echo. And they also, we said earlier, the Misfortune doesn't really leave bot lane. But the enemy bot lane is still down here. They know the Baron is being done. Garen as a running champion can't get there. Shaco is in the area, though, but there is a distraction happening. But both junglers are not in the pit. It's a bit weird. Jhin with his ultimate is going to try and get the Shaco. Rek'Sai returning does get the kill and will get the Shaco. Very weird play, and also the enemy bot lane is still bot lane. So again, we're not seeing the best quality League of Legends here, but we weren't expecting it. The Jayce himself, who we're focusing on, is doing pretty good. You know, he used his lane advantage to continue, you know, snowballing the game. I'd say, you know, it worked out getting the Baron, but that was a potentially not great situation if the Shaco didn't chase the Rek'Sai. The Rek'Sai was out of the pit. If the Shaco kind of was like, I'm going to go for this Baron, there was a smite advantage there, and the Shaco just didn't go for it. Was too focused on getting kills, and that, again, is quite a... That's a big thing in low rating. Kills are the best thing ever. You make more gold from farm than you normally do in kills, or big objectives like Baron buff is worth way more than one kill. So I think that Shaco really should have prioritized going for the steal, especially that Rek'Sai went for a kill and went out of the pit. So farm-wise, by the way, Jayce doing completely fine with farm. 180 is completely fine. I know to some people they'll be like, 26 minutes, that's low farm. It's not, again, you have to play to the rating we're in. And also the Jayce has done well with kills, has also been pressurizing towers and inhibitors. So let's give congrats where congrats is due. The Jayce is having a good game. Farm is perfectly acceptable, highest farm in the game right now. Rek'Sai gets a shutdown on the fed Shaco. So that's one thing to say about Rek'Sai, by the way. Not a weak champion right now. That is an extremely fed Shaco dying to a not exactly really strong Rek'Sai. Garrett unfortunately going down. Yeah, Garen's not had a great game, unfortunately. Meanwhile, Misfortune going for it. Diana going to go in with then the knock-up of Zyra with the Jayce EQ, which misses, unfortunately. He will pick up probably an assist. Doesn't actually, because he didn't get movement speed, I guess, to anyone who was involved in the kill. And that will be an ace overall. And that might be the game, considering that Jayce earlier, remember, broke into mid and broke into top lane already. There's super minions that are here, so they're about to have minions actually crash into the enemy Nexus towers. So now just go for the end, go for the kill. But that is episode 1. Jayce shouldn't be focused on that. Just go for the end. That was episode 1 of, like, the Champions Climb. Again, we'll get into more, like, really detailed things as the game quality increases. Because let's be honest, the main thing with this Jayce, there was a few things that he definitely could be better on. But the Jayce won this because the Garen wasn't really there. You know, like, the Garen allowed a lot that happened. The Garen didn't play aggressive. He let himself get range killed. He didn't go back when he needed to. So a lot of this was the Garen just not performing very well. But definitely some points that the Jayce can learn from. You know, the aggression level, it could have been even more aggressive. Maintaining the range distance, because occasionally this Jayce just floated into melee range in ranged form when he just didn't need to. You can maintain kind of the same distance and walk away. Going for kills when you know you can get them, just pulling that trigger and going for it. Luckily, he did get the kill a couple seconds later a couple times, but could have got the kill earlier. It was really good to see, though, that yes, he got fed from lane, but he used his fedness around the map. He didn't just stay in top lane. He never made it down to bot lane, but I don't think he really needed to. But he went to mid quite a bit, and he did open, especially really good, opened up the base in mid lane. So that was really good pressure. It kind of stopped the enemy team in their tracks. Like, bot lane earlier in this game was losing, you know, the Jayce, and that he is still kind of behind the Misfortune. Shaco is really fed, and he was getting his lead in mid and bot. But having the Jayce constantly, I'm at the enemy base. They always are like, oh, God, we've got to go stop him now. It stopped the Shaco progressing even more. So that was really good. But that is episode 1. And let me know what you guys think, if you guys enjoyed it. And yeah, episode 2 in the next few days will most likely feature a gold Jayce. And that also will come with a gold lane opponent as well. So Jayce as the champion, he got away with it this game because I don't think the Garen dealt with a ranged of a Jayce very well. But the higher rating you go, the player's understanding goes up. Yes, the Jayce's understanding goes up, but when you're against a Garen or a Darius or something as a Jayce, they can just straight up kill you if played well. But a lot of it comes from going all in, and this Garen just never really did it. You know, he let himself get poked too much. So even in gold, I would expect the lane opponent to not kind of give the lane as much as this one did. So hopefully we'll be able to see a little bit difference from the lane opponent as well as the Jayce the next episode. But yeah, please do throw a like on the video, especially for episode 1 if you enjoyed. A lot of education and content to come. You know, even with my live commentaries, by the way, season 11 educational content is going to be fully back, and Try Hard Huz in SOLOQ is coming too. Again, I've been feeling that I've been playing really well recently, and I think that will show in the upcoming climb in season 11. But anyway, like, comment, subscribe. Let me know what you think down below, and hopefully you're all doing well and keeping safe, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.